Good morning. This is Mary Uber-Sachs with EarthTones, Gifts Gallery and Center for Healing, and it's winter solstice. And I've developed a short segment of 3 wonderful women who are going to give us some guidance here for this coming winter, 2020. And the idea of sharing blessings, cleansing our path is not new for millennia. This has been a sacred time as we enter the winter time. I feel that this is an honor to be able to bring these 3 women, Jan Lynch, Melanie Sachs, and Sophie Sheridan, to come in and help you really kind of look at what you can do during this quieter time, the winter time, when we go in. And this is going to be a symbolic effort to kind of open our bodies to the light. We'll be teaching a little bit about the Kansa wand and working with the marmas on the face to get that sense of openness and perspective from an Ayurvedic medicine point of view. And we'll also be featuring the book that Jan Lynch has just published, which is Opening to the Divine Flow of Abundance. And finally, with a perspective of the journey through the darkness and the winter and the hopefulness of coming out of 2020. We're going to be listening to kind of how we can really honor this time and rebirth a new constellation. So I hope you'll join the full length of this video. You can stop, pause, and repeat. You can share it. And it's been really a pleasure to pull together this small program for you. So enjoy. Happy winter solstice. And may you spend the days in a sense of inner work and divine flow. And just keep that going every day. Just keep waking up and wondering how your soul can emerge. So continue in peace. Namaste.
Good morning, everybody. Happy solstice. And thank you so much, Mary, for inviting me to share a little of what I know about this kind of massage with a Kansa wand, which looks like this. I love the idea, by the way, that you've themed this presentation of constellation. I feel like there is a real tendency at this time to focus on the dark and the negative. I know a lot of people have a hard time with how little light there is in a day. I don't know if it's the pandemic or what it is, but I have just personally not adjusted well. It feels like the day is come and gone so quickly at the moment. But this idea of, instead of focusing on dark, focusing on the return of the light is a really, really strong and powerful image. And I wanted to mention that in terms of Ayurveda, India's traditional medicine, that we are considered bodies of light. You've probably heard of energy medicine. Ayurveda is an energy medicine, which means it believes we are more than flesh and blood. What does that mean? It means that we are not just a bunch of cells that are functioning. There is actually an energy in our system, and that is what is life. It's a mystery. It's a mystery what that is. But we know it has an electronic component, and we know it has a light component. And we know that the human body is actually a light receptor. And we know that those light receptors are focused in particular points on the body. So when we do touch, when we engage in massage, what we're doing is actually, or let's say one of the things we're doing, is we're activating those light energy points. We're opening those areas of the body to be more open to light and energy. And what that looks like after a massage is we look shiny and new. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that behind doing this program, Mary is thinking of how do we strengthen ourselves? How do we take in more light? And how do we offer more light back? How do we become shining examples rather than people that need help in this time? And I would say from my own experience that doing self-massage according to Ayurvedic principles is one of the simplest, one of the cheapest, one of the most pleasurable things to do to kindle and strengthen your own energy, even when you feel like you don't have the energy to gather. So Ayurveda would say touch is important. Ayurveda would say oil is absolutely essential. So many times when clients say, I'm feeling really tired, I say, you know what? Put a little oil in your bath and slosh around like a seal. You know, get oil on the surface of your skin. We know that oil actually feeds the microbes that enhance our immune system. It is a food for the microbes on our skin, in our microbiome, that supports our immune system. It is a really, really useful thing to do. And, you know, the nice thing is you don't have to be a massage therapist. You kind of don't need to know what you're doing. It's basically slap it on, get oil on as much of the surface of your skin as possible. I always say Ayurveda is an oily business. If you then want to get in a hot shower, luxuriate in a hot bath, that will drive the oil deeper. And if you want to know more about these light energy points that I've been talking about, I thought we might just go over them, the points that are on your face that are easily accessible. Remembering this whole thing, you remember in the beginning of the pandemic, you know, don't touch your face. Well, wash your hands well before you touch your face. But if you want to bring that light energy back to your face and to feel like there is more light shining from your eyes, you might try just touching, first of all, these mama points. And they are called mama points, these light energy points. They're in pairs bilaterally, and some of them are on the midline of the body. So a very key one is right in the middle of the forehead. And you can touch these points by gently pressing and releasing, or moving in little clockwise circles. Doesn't matter which finger you use, whatever feels natural. Okay? Right in the middle of the forehead. A lot of people have been more in front of their computers and are experiencing stress around the eyes. There's great mama points. Let me see if I can get it on camera. I wouldn't use my fingers like this particularly, but if you feel the bony orbit above your eye, feel a little bit closer to your nose. And one of the ways you know that you're in a good place with a mama is that it can be a little tender. So either side of the nose, but I would touch with my thumbs, like you're pressing very gently up towards the top of your head. Then you can touch in the corners of your eyes, and you don't want to poke towards your eyeball. You're poking towards the middle of your head and just jiggling your fingers up and down. It's really, really refreshing. It brings a lot of circulation and moisture back to your eyes. And then a point that you don't necessarily think of as affecting the eyes, but it does, halfway up your nose. And if you press here, you start to sound a bit more like a cartoon. Right? Pressing gently in towards the middle of your head, pressing and releasing. We have another mama that's good for your brain, bringing circulation to your brain, helping with your memory, right here, right in the middle of your upper lip. And then 2 points where the flare of your nostril joins your face. Strangely, or if you're familiar with the nervous system, not so strangely, the one on the right affects the left side of your brain, the one on the left, your right side of your brain. And these points are also good for breathing, for your lungs. And then the last point I'm going to show you on the face is right in the middle of the chin. I love marmors. I could talk a whole lot more about them, but I know that Mary really wanted me to show you more about the Cancer wand. So I always say with Ayurveda, the most lovely thing to me about it is it's accessible no matter what you have or don't have, but it is lovely to have a special tool. These tools Mary has had in her shop. They're available at her online store. And what they are is a lovely wooden handle with a bronze dome. And bronze is a very special metal. It was the very first alloy that human beings made. Since we have, the Stone Age, then we had the Bronze Age. And bronze was used for many things. It still is used today in India for all of their statuary, all of their sacred statuary. And it is used also for bells and gongs because it has an incredible resonance. One of the things that I think is least expected about these tools is as soon as it touches your skin, it doesn't feel like a piece of metal. It feels just like a warm, silky, energetic, consistent hand. And because of its resonance and because of its ability to pick up energy and carry energy, but not hold energy, fortunately, it is a wonderful tool for working with these marma points to open that light energy. So just as we touched those marma points with our fingers, we can touch them with a Cancer wand. And so you would just gently, I'm going to go slightly sideways so you can see better. Gently rest the Cancer wand on your skin. Wait for it to get a little bit warm, and then you just gently move it in a clockwise direction. And that's a clockwise direction, thinking of a wristwatch being on your forehead, like you're looking at a clock this way. This marma in the middle of the forehead is a key marma for helping the body relax. It basically says to all of your mind and body systems, come into balance. Generally speaking, when you're working with a Cancer wand for the benefit of your skin and to rejuvenate your face, you want to be working perpendicular to any fine lines. So most of us have fine lines this way on our forehead. Some of us have fine lines, what we call in the business our 11s, right here, like the frown lines, right? Like a number 11. So working perpendicular, you would simply go gently up and down on the forehead, back and forth. Doesn't need to be particularly slow, just can be going back and forth gently. And then you can either go back and forth this way over those 11s or go around in a little circle again. Some people like to draw the magical infinity sign on the forehead, and that really does feel wonderfully relaxing. One point I didn't show you is it's not so much a point, but an area, and it's the area of the hollow of the temples. This is a great point for helping with relaxation and concentration. So again, you can just take the marma wand and go gently around. 30 is a good count. And, when you're working with other people, I try to count. When you're working with yourself, not so significant. But it is nice if you count, then you can do similar amounts of time on each side of the face. The reason for counting isn't that the number is magical particularly, but it just keeps it a similar time frame. I don't know if you can hear chickens in the background. If you can, that's my 3 chickens, and this is about the time of day when one of them lays and the other one lets the whole world know that there's an egg. So if you hear a squawk, it's not me. The points above the eye here, you can touch by gently going back and forth. You can go back and forth, or you can go round and round, and you can go round and around the eye one way and the other. So both ways, doesn't matter which you do first. And what you're trying to do is have the edge of the concha wand touch the edge of that bony orbit around your eye. You never want to put pressure directly on the eyeball. You're always trying to feel that you're in this space and actually pressing very gently against the bone. One of the things I enjoy most about a concha wand is that it is an energetic tool, and so you don't actually have to work hard. It is just simply taking your time and letting that concha wand work and do its work and walk over your face. The other general rule is that you want to work from the midline and gently outwards and upwards. So another great move is to work around your cheekbone. So if you think of your face like a landscape, here is the hill of your cheekbone, and you're wanting to take the concha wand and come around the hill so that you're pressing a little more fully as you come out and up, and then very gently, like you're barely gliding across your skin, as you come back towards the midline. And we're going to go clockwise and counterclockwise. So once again, that is a little more firmly as you come out and up, and very gently as you come back to the midline. If you're going the other way, then you come a little more firmly as you come out and up under the cheekbone, and very lightly as you come back to the midline. So a little firmly as you come under the cheekbone, a little lightly as you come back to the midline. Of course, you work on both sides of the face. Working here in these areas, either side of the nose, you can just do little circles either side of the nose. Working on that mama point that I showed you, that is great for eyes. By the way, if anybody has dry eye syndrome, this is a really, really wonderful point to know about. You can use either your fingers or the concha wand on that point halfway either side of your nose, okay? And you can feel when you massage these points, you can feel your sinuses easing, and you can feel moisture returning to your eyes. A lot of people in front of computers get dry eyes. Some people have it more severely. So then generally on the outwards and upwards, after you've gone around the cheekbone, I'll do it on the other side of my face, you can simply work firmly up, lightly down, a little more firmly as you come up, very lightly as you come down, as if you're just kind of bringing the skin up, just like you're encouraging or ironing out the skin as you come from the midline up towards your ear. And this point here, right in front of your ear hole, is another really great point to massage gently, because it is right over your jawbone, where a lot of people, or jaw joint, I beg your pardon, where a lot of people hold a tremendous amount of tension. And then you can work on the jawline itself. So you're coming from the tip of your chin, following the jawline out and up. And a movement that I really enjoy is a long, skinny figure of 8. So you're coming up and around, thinking of that figure of 8 centering somewhere like in the middle of your jawline. So it's a long, skinny figure of 8, just moving at what I call walking pace, not particularly slowly. You can't really go too fast, but why would you go fast? But it doesn't need to be slow. It's the continuousness and the consistency of moving the cancer over your face that does the magic. And then we can go around your lips. On yourself, this is easy to do. On somebody else, if they don't have a very big lip, it's harder. So you can just come around, thinking of the fine lines that might be running this way over the upper lip. You're just coming around the lips. You can go one way. You can go the other. And then you can finish with that point right in the middle of the chin. And finish by touching the point in the middle of the forehead, the point that's the do everything for body and mind point, to bring the whole experience together. So this is something I really enjoy. And I don't know if you can see, Mary, but there might be like a little bit of grayness.
Yes.
Sometimes if you're particularly stressed, sometimes if your skin is drier, sometimes if you haven't taken all of the makeup off of your face, the cancer wand makes a kind of grayness. Mine is pretty minimal, but sometimes it's not. Some people find that before their menses, their skin is more acid and you get more grayness. I've actually done this when I was being recorded, and all of the camera people just started busting out laughing, and they just said, "Melanie, you look like a chimney sweep." I mean, it can be that dark. So the upside is you're moving acid out of the skin. That's a good thing. You're moving acidity out of the body. That's a good thing. The downside is it looks kind of funny. It's easily taken off with just a little oil and a tissue. So don't worry about it. Most people actually like the feeling that this is a very mild detox. It's absolutely nothing to worry about. It's fascinating, though, that you might find even that certain parts of your face get a little more gray than others. And for me, that's an indication of where you're holding more tension. So I've certainly had that with an injury, for example, like working on a knee, where the hottest part of the injury comes up more gray. How are we doing for time?
I don't see a clock, but I was loving the presentation. Thank you so much. I wonder if you could give me just a quick run through. You mentioned the importance of oil, and if you could talk about the 4 oils that you have, the unscented, the vata, you don't have to talk about the major doshas so much as we have crafted at Diamond Way.
Gotcha.
So that I can do that.
Okay. Let me find
Thank you.
Have a visual.
And you could do this with or without oil, correct? So I don't think I've ever done a full thing without oil till today. So
yeah. So I mentioned earlier that Ayurveda loves oil. If people ask me what is particularly different about Ayurvedic massage, I will just say it's an oily business. Ayurveda uses oil, and it uses oil as a form of medicine. It is definitely part of the therapeutic benefit of massage. What kind of oil then? What kind of oil would you use on your face? Because a lot of people are oil phobic. They think that all oil is congestive. Well, here at Diamond Way Ayurveda, we use quite a variety of oils on the face, but the main one that I would suggest, the one that's widely available almost anywhere, is jojoba oil. And actually, jojoba is not an oil, although we call it oil. It's a wax, and it is the closest vegetable wax to your skin's own sebum. So it matches your skin really, really well. It is not at all congestive, and I have never heard of anybody having an allergy to it. It is neither heating or cooling. It is a middle of the road kind of oil. It is actually decongesting. If you happen to have whiteheads or blackheads, because it's like your skin's own sebum, it actually mixes with the sebum and mobilizes the blockages that are in the pores of your skin. It is not harmful for people that have acne or rosacea, believe it or not. We also, though, have formulated 3 particular face oils, one for more dry skin, or in Ayurveda, we would call that a vata skin or a mature skin. This is jojoba based, but it also has enriching oils like avocado and rosehip seed, and essential oils that are brilliant for rejuvenating the skin. We have an oil that is for more sensitive skin, and very fascinating, this particular oil, our pitta oil, is an oil that numbers of nurses locally have been using, and actually friends back east. There are people that are wearing masks all the time for their work, and they're finding that they're breaking out in acne. So this oil has been incredibly helpful underneath their masks. It is jojoba based, and then it has meadow foam seed oil, which you've probably might never have heard of, or shea nut that you have probably heard of. These are oils that are very protective for sensitive skin. And then essential oils that are cooling and soothing to the skin. And last of all, we have a skin, I beg your pardon, we have an oil. Last of all, we have an oil that is for, let's say, thicker, heavier skin that is prone to congestion. Again, jojoba based, but then it has light oils like grapeseed and apricot seed, and essential oils that help mobilize and really cleanse the skin. So you can say basically the blue one for dry, the red one for sensitive, the green one for really mobilizing and cleansing.
Thank you.
So I hope you found learning about these particular points really fascinating. I really hope that you are wanting now to engage with a cancer wand and see what that can do for you. I know my experience with it is really just something that erases stress from my face. And, you know, stress in the face is something you don't know what you got till it's gone. You just feel lighter, brighter, more alive, more interested in connecting with others. It really is an incredibly joyful and pleasurable way of bringing your light out and offering it to the world.
I want to thank Melanie Sachs for this beautiful time and sharing about the Kansa wand and learning more about the marmas. This is going to be a great understanding for us how to use these tools, these ancient tools, and benefit from the oils and the preparations. But Melanie, what do you say? Do you think we ought to maybe get a little prep class or some group time where we can do this and Zoom this together?
I'm a little inspired, you know, like you, Mary, I've been focusing on home. I have an old property that we've been working on, and kind of embarrassed how completely rough my hands are at the moment. But come the new year, I feel like the energy is going to be up for being more on Zoom. We're a little behind the curve, but I feel like things come in their right time, and I'm feeling like January time, February time would be a lovely time to get together and offer all sorts of things maybe
Great.
together. Sweet.
Well,
Thank you for the invite.
thank you so much for this today. And for our viewers, hopefully you'll tune in for when that's scheduled. Just look below in the comments and you'll see when we've got it scheduled. And happy winter solstice.
Happy winter solstice. Bring in that light. Send it out.
2020. And I want to welcome our viewers and anyone who sees this subsequently to learning a little bit more about your book, The Divine Flow of Abundance. And welcome.
Thank you, Mary. I'm really happy to be here.
Great. And so you published just about a month ago through Hawkeye Publishing this beautiful book?
I did. It was published. It was released on November the 11th.
Oh,
so
great.
It has been out only about a month now. Yes.
Okay. So our viewers, you're going to learn a little bit more about the process of her 30-day abundance focus, the internal work it will involve, and learn how to use this over and over again to really change your life. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Jan, and just let you talk a little bit about your path and the book itself.
Good morning, Mary. Thank you for having me here this morning, this day of a very special day today, isn't it? The winter solstice, and maybe a day of new miracles happening. I believe that December is truly a month of miracles, not only because of, well, just of what we've been taught as young children, but it's such a beautiful month for miracles with the lights and the love, and it's such a blessing to us. So I have written a book this year. It is called The Divine Flow of Abundance. And what it is about is shifting from that negative self-talk and limiting self-beliefs that we all have, that we all carry with us, to realizing the abundance that is around us and the abundance that is already within us. Once we realize how we are connected to a higher power, then we can shift into that alignment with that higher power and create amazing miracles or demonstrations in our life. This book was a journey of love. It was a book I never intended to write. However, it was an idea that came to me back in December, again, the month of miracles. And it was an idea that came to me that I believe came from Spirit. And I decided to take on the challenge, and I followed my lead, which was Spirit, and I started writing. This book has 30 chapters, and each chapter addresses a way to look at abundance each day. The chapters are short. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes to read them, but it gives you enough to think about and to try to implement into your life before you go on to the next chapter. I believe that Spirit directed me to put this book out right now because there is so much going on in the world that we know is uncomfortable and that we are concerned about. There's many challenges out there. However, I believe if we take our mind and our thoughts and our time away from looking at what is going on out in the world and look at what is going on inside of each one of us, I think this book is very well timed for that, because it's a way of learning about yourself rather than being concerned about what is going on out in the world. And the abundance that is around us and the abundance that is within us is unlimited. You know, this Spirit, that God or divine, whatever you want to call it, is unlimited in what it is able to do. There's nothing that is too big for the Spirit. It doesn't know the difference between a gigantic oak tree and a teeny tiny ant. And it says yes to us no matter what we say. So one thing that runs through the book is that our thoughts create things. We've heard Wayne Dyer and many New Thought teachers say that change your thoughts and change your life. And that really is true, that if we look at a situation or a condition and we think it's absolutely impossible to change by just changing our thought or maybe changing our perception and just giving spirit the opening that it needs to get in and to help you with the demonstration or the manifestation. Life begins to change, doesn't it? Mary, have you had that experience where you've opened yourself up at some time and all of a sudden, wow, a miracle occurred?
I see that happening in both healing of the body, but also in people who are working on their creative outlets. And then they know exactly where they're headed. It just pops into a resonance with their actions, and then there's fulfillment. So you're right. It's the time for people to really connect to those miracles.
You know, Wayne Dyer has a quote that I really like. He says, miracles can only happen when you get rid of the concept of impossible and experience the magic of knowing. And also Albert Einstein had a quote that I like. He said, there's only one way to look at your life. Either nothing is a miracle or everything is a miracle. And how wonderful to be able to live your life and to say, I am co-creating with a higher power to create a life that I desire and that I deserve. And how much better it is to live from that place within you than to give yourself to the outer world right now where things are upsetting and will not benefit us right now at all. The closer we can become to that higher power within us right now, the more serene and peaceful our lives absolutely will be.
You know, Jan, we're calling this create a new constellation so that we can kind of emerge our own brightness. So once we do this internal work at the end of this 30 days, or if we do this program more than once, how will we feel about then externalizing our efforts?
How will we feel about externalizing or experiencing our efforts?
Externalizing, you know, this idea that there's going to be a change, a brilliance, a light afterwards.
Yes. Well, you have to do the work. I mean, you cannot read the book. You cannot read the affirmations and the affirmative prayer and the statement of spiritual truth, and then go back to the day that you had where everything was negative. You have to put in the work. You have to remind yourself that when that monkey mind begins to tell you, you cannot do this, you cannot be this, you have to have the strength and the courage to say, no, wait a minute, go back and pick up the book, read an affirmation, read an affirmative prayer. But the work does not just happen. You have to do the inner work in order to move into that place where you do have an alignment with that higher power within you. It's not like the movie, if you build it, they will come. No, if you have to continue. This is a journey. This is not a destination. You have to keep working this and working this. And no matter how far along we are on our spiritual journey, because we're all in different places, no matter how far along we are, we're going to have those days where we cannot come up with a positive thought, no matter how hard we try. That's okay. That's all part of the journey. We just have to keep working at it, don't we?
Yes, we do. During this pandemic and during the writing period, did you find any new skills at overcoming those types of days as you were writing and as you had to do the work? And can you comment on how it was to just really do this internal work during the shelter-in-place period?
It wasn't always easy. I mean, there were times that I would sit down to write and there wouldn't be anything there. Nothing would come out. But I guess that's called author's block. And since this is my first journey in being an author, I had to just accept that that was going to happen. The other thing I had to do is I had to do my very best to stay outside of the outside world and do my best to leave that negative part of the world alone. I didn't listen to the newscasts. I turned off everything that was not going to benefit me in connecting with spirit. So I had to keep myself centered And during the pandemic, a lot of us, we had to stay home, so that was a little bit easier. It wasn't the easiest journey I've ever been on, but honestly, Mary, it's been amazing, absolutely amazing.
Hi, I want to welcome you again to the Solstice Constellation Emergence recording that we are doing on December 21st. And I'm with Sophie Sheridan, and she's a soulful Reiki practitioner. This winter solstice means to her and how we can access this for our personal growth. So welcome, Sophie. So glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. This is a very important topic personally in my life during this time, and I'm sure anyone that is on this broadcast that is listening to this can speak to the challenges and the changes that 2020 has brought, both individually and collectively. I know that this time has felt like a pressure cooker for me. I know I'm not alone in that, but it is the most important and transformative time to really lay new foundations for a world that is changing, growing, and asking for people to show up in a more soulful way. From my perspective, what it's done for me is shone light into places that are very uncomfortable. Very much things, stories, programs that I have told myself I was, or certain expectations I've had that, you know, I wanted to fulfill, but it was outside of myself rather from a soulful place. So any of those illusions were shattered. And if you're anything like me, I hold on tightly to the familiar. I think that's a very human thing, and it's nothing to be hard on ourselves about, but it is really important to embrace the alignments that are coming in. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is going to make a Christmas star, and it's a very rare appearance in our sky. And for me, it just shows the light returning from the darkness. But personally, I'm being called, and I'm sure other people can resonate with this, but there's a deep rooting that needs to be done in my own life that has been brought to the surface. For a long time, I've searched outside myself for answers. I've, whether it's relationships, addictions, distractions, whatever it is that would block me from really feeling the change and transition of this time. Because as the change comes through our bodies, it can feel really disorienting and uncomfortable. Not to mention we're living in a world with new technologies. We're entering a new paradigm where we're connecting through computers, through cell phones. I mean, we're inundated by this wave of information. And so it can be really overwhelming. For me, I get really overwhelmed by the amount of information coming in. But right now, my body's asking me to be still in the discomfort. I find that when I'm still in it rather than running from it, it's uncomfortable, but by putting focus in it, I'm able to transition and change my feelings, really get to the root of the lesson and the juice and the medicine of what these times are calling for. I like to look at like we're on the cutting edge of a new paradigm. We're literally the blade of the knife from the old world to the new world. So everyone on the planet right now has a significant part to play in that. Very significant. It's amazing to see the work that's being done in creating a world that's more sustainable, more planet-based, green-based, using new innovative systems and way of thinking, using our brains to make things work better, where we produce less waste on the planet, and we're all here living in one, because we gotta protect this beautiful planet that we're living on. So these changes I just feel are really significant for these next generations to come. And living a soul-based life is very important. And every challenge that we're presented with, if depending on how we deal with it, will lead us into our own unique expression. And for me personally, I've had a really hard time doing that in my life. I've just, I resist change a lot, and what we resist persists. And it's now the energy and the feelings of, that come through are all significant. And I think it's an important time to lean on healers, our tools, astrology, our birth charts are really helpful in navigating this time. Finding what truly makes us happy and living in joy, because we're here to create a new world, and there's a lot of avenues that it can go. But if we're led by the soul, then we can't make a wrong turn.
I love that you brought up your personal astrology is helpful for individuals. So what does an event like the winter solstice mean to those individual imprints and blueprints from our astrological birth charts?
Well, the moment that we're born and put onto the planet, we have a specific destiny, a specific archetypes that work in our life. So pulling up a chart, like you could go to Astrolab, Cafe Astrology, there's a couple different free sites. I know for my personal journey, as soon as I pulled my birth chart and I started breaking down, okay, what does this mean, the Saturn placement? What does this mean, this Jupiter placement? And doing my own research, I was guided into a deeper understanding of what I was meant to expand into. And so personally, when I feel I'm a very deep feeling person, I soak in a lot of the energies around me. I'm not alone in that. When I feel ungrounded or unbalanced and just crazy, like overwhelmed, I can look at the daily transitions. I can look at my planets, what's being triggered, and it helps me feel, have more of a logical understanding to what's happening intuitively. And that's always brought me a lot of comfort. So I just like to share that with other people, that pulling your birth chart and trying to go deeper into your personal aspects and really use your intuition with it. Because for me, I pulled the chart and then I would just ask what I needed to know and be led into a deeper understanding if a planet popped out or a placement or a certain house in my chart. So it's just a really good tool for these times. If you're an intuitive person, if you're curious about it at all, there's a lot of ways and amazing astrologers out there for help and guidance.
Well, thank you. I will post some of those in the comment section so people can look at where they can download their free charts.
Yeah, I also have some resource. Sorry to interrupt, but I have some resources as well that have helped me on my journey and maybe can help other people as well.
Great. I really feel that this is going to be a day that awakens to the new year, but say in the future, and however that might be, whether it's this millennium or even just our own impression of the future. What are some of do you feel hope? Do you feel light? Do you feel that we're having more tumultuous events in front of us? Or what's your feeling? What's your sense?
Tumultuous to say the least. I mean, that's been the energy of this year, but there's always hope and there's always faith. You know, I've been to a hopeless place before, and it can get scary down there, but there's always a way. There's some little sprinkle that the universe will give me, some sort of reprieve, love, relationship, help in my life, or just an energetic, almost like an energetic bath that I'll get when I feel that way. But there's always hope, and the future is so exciting. It's so exciting. This is like a whole new world that we get to create, that we actually get to birth. And how I look at it is this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. We're in contractions of birthing this new world. You know, we push and we come back in, we push and we come back in. And as we're birthing this new world, as people are awakening to this energy and the power that they have, being sovereign beings and creators, moving from consumer to creator is such an important precipice on our planet, and we get to be a part of that. And I almost feel like I know that's why I'm here, is because I feel the energy, even though I'm in one of the darkest times of my life. I feel a break of light that is on the planet, and it's going to be changing. And so if we can just be there for each other during the change, then we get to also create together. We get to come together and have new innovative ideas and solutions to problems that maybe weren't at our fingertips before because of what, you know, technology and the advancements that we've had on the planet. So if you can imagine how far we've come just in the last 50 years, you know, and in the last 5 years, it's going to keep changing and expanding, which is going to create more opportunities for positivity, for mindfulness on our planet. So speaking on the tools to get us through this time, there's a lot. There's a lot of people going through big change, transition, times of challenge. And for me personally, I find connecting with spirit. I use oracle cards, and this deck is Kyle Gray, and it's Angels and Ancestors Wisdom Oracle. It's one of my favorite. This has been my go-to during this time of change. And I would like to pull a card for the collective and our emerging constellation meeting here. So, okay, and today we got Air Guardian. Shift your perception. This card is a powerful one. It speaks to me of the power of our mental thoughts over our plane and our field and our lives. A lot of times looking at something black and white can create blockages and a closed-minded way of dealing with problems and solutions. And it's easy to get wrapped in old programs, ways of thinking, being, and interacting that we've always done because we are creatures of habit. But there's a higher way to look at situations, and this card's really significant to me, especially because I can get really locked down into that this is how it's going to be and that's it. And after tuning in and asking for maybe releasing some of the outcome, I'm able to see things in a different way. So I think our perceptions are going to be really pivotal during this time of change and challenge, and creating a new world where, you know, we have more peace and harmony. So Air Guardian is here to shift our perception. That's the truth.